And on behalf of the Mayor, Borough Council, and ourselves, I want to welcome all of you to this presentation. We're really excited about this. Probably of all the presentations today, this is the one I'm most excited about. We have two lovely women here in town who live here in town, are in the process of raising or reconstructing reconstructing their homes. They've been acting as their own general contractor, so they have a lot of good experiences to help you understand what that entailed for them. They're Liz Homer and Carol Morelli, and it's again like the last, we encourage questions. They're going to tell you what their projects are, what they're doing, but the way we learn is by asking questions. So don't be bashful, I've got questions. Okay? With that, I'm going to turn it over to Carol and to Liz.
Hi, how are you guys? I live on Center Street, and as you know, I got water, and I got 5 feet of water, so I decided real quickly to raise my house because that wasn't the first time. It was the third time in 3 years we got water.
Can we just raise your voice for
Sure.
back here? Thank you.
So,
Carol or Liz?
Carol, I'm Carol, and I live on Center Street, and as you all know, we all got water in Hurricane Sandy. This is my third time getting water in my home. We're very low on the ground, and I decided to raise real quickly. I know now the town has a checklist that helps guide everybody to what they need to bring in order to start raising. I did not have that, so I came in and asked a lot of questions. February 18th, raised my house 10 feet plus 2 to meet the ABFEs through FEMA, and I'm still in the process of fixing my inside house because we never fixed it. We gutted it right before we raised it. I had a lot of work to do. I was missing sill plates, had a lot of joists that had to be repaired, and now it's still up and we're still working on it. We got insulation, so we are moving ahead, but it is a long process. And
I have a question.
sure.
In terms of preparing the documents for submission to the town, how did you handle that process?
I came into town and found out what exactly they needed. I knew the first thing I needed was a zoning permit to get my house off the ground. What that entailed was I had to hire a surveyor to get an elevation certificate where it is currently on the ground, and I also needed an elevation certificate to raise it. That way on that certificate it tells you by square footage how many vents you need and as far as how high I need it. And
Was this for your architect? Did you use an architect?
no, I didn't use an architect. I have an uncle that's a contractor, and he drew up my papers for me because as a homeowner, you're allowed to draw up your own print. You don't have to get an architect, and my budget was really tight, and it saved me probably $4,000 not using an architect. There was a lot of revisions I had to make, but the town was very helpful. I came in and they told me if I had any mistakes on the paper, I went back to the table, revised them, and brought them back in. They're very helpful.
Keep that in mind. You know, you as a resident, you can do a lot of things yourself.
You can.
But you need to realize what it entails, because it's not an easy process by any stretch of the imagination. And when you do that kind of work, you accept some liability that if you were going to a design professional, that design professional would then assume. So you just need to be aware of that. And she had someone who knew something about construction in her family. We're not all that fortunate, so keep that in mind as well.
I'm sorry,
Did you draw your own elevations? Did you do your own papers?
yes, I did. Not the elevation certificate, but I did the own drawings.
The drawings?
Yes,
By hand?
yes. By how many courses of 12, you have to have 12-inch block, by how many courses of block you have to go up, the vents.
And you went up 12?
I went 10 plus 2, 12, but in the town it's 38 feet height for your mid-peak, and I was able to go up 15 feet. So if they raise the level, say in 2 years, I'm still ahead of the game. I'm not going to higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm higher, and I don't have to worry about it in 2 years if it's changed. That way my insurance still stays low.
You're in the A zone or V zone?
I was a V zone. My house is actually half A, half V, which is crazy. But they go by the V zone. I've heard they're going to change a lot of these zones. It's coming out this weekend, I believe. Hopefully I go back to the A zone. But I put a concrete block garage under my house. I did not go with the columns.
Why not, how come they didn't require you to put pilings in, or is it pilings?
Because the
These
town
are-
didn't adapt it yet, and I, as a homeowner, chose that I didn't want to go on those, and being it wasn't adapted, I was able to go on.
So you got in front of the bullet, so to say.
Yes.
So I have a question. How do you deal with the insurance then if they don't
Can you
accept that?
speak a little louder? Because
Yeah,
we're trying
so
to
if you're not on
hear
piers, how's that gonna work with your flood
They
insurance?
they do accept it. As long as you're above the ABF fees, they accepted it. I applied for the ICC grant.
What's
Got
ABF, what is that?
ABF fees, base flood elevation levels.
I don't mean that, I mean your flood insurance. Are they gonna charge you
Well,
more money?
the flood insurance doesn't,
Care about
they
that.
don't care about
Yeah,
that.
they just want it to
don't.
be high enough.
Yes.
They don't care about that. And she got in before there was the regulations anyway, so
Yes.
so it didn't.
So those regulations weren't even out, so quite frankly, if anybody did it that quick, my house was up. By February 18th, it was done.
Yeah. So if you're in before
those-
that.
Yeah.
So as far as presently, would you still have that option? Do you think that, would there still be an option that you could do it with
I don't
rock
think,
or?
no,
So now you'd have to.
No, you'd have to, if you're in a V zone, you have to, but
But it's still
Gotta be
not
on.
clear for your V or.
exactly, that's why you could wait if you were unsure of what you wanted to do, because the new things are coming out, I believe this weekend, they said.
Flood insurance, they're gonna
Yeah,
charge you more money.
and there's gonna be a lot of changes.
She's missing information.
Garage underneath?
Yes, I'm not using it as a garage
Why don't
though.
people not
But I
do
mean,
it?
did you have to do the breakaway walls?
You know,
No,
And we have flood vents.
we have flood vents,
They're just vents that the water comes in and the water goes out. That's
and it's
so.
pressurized, those
Yeah.
vents are for
So you
pressurization.
can still put a full garage underneath as long as you have flood vents?
Yes.
I wouldn't store anything.
I don't think that's
We're not
correct in
using
the
it
V
as a
zone.
garage.
I don't think that's correct.
It's just strictly the space underneath, we're not
You're not
using
allowed
it.
to use it to park your cars or anything?
You
Is that what you're
can,
saying?
but we aren't. You would have to fireproof it, and we're not doing that, because we already have a driveway, and it would be unfair to other residents if we did another cutout and take up space on the road for other people to park.
So I'm Liz Homer. I live on Embry Place, and I had a 96-year-old portion of my home. The original house that I bought got destroyed in Sandy. We had about 4.5 feet of water. And like Carol, I knew like the day after the storm, before we even saw our damage, that I'm knocking this down. Because in 2004, I had put an addition on that was up to hurricane code. It had the flood vents. My 2 bedrooms and bath up top of the garage were completely unharmed until recently by Sandy. So I was like, we'll just saw away the old part, raise up, build new, attach it all together, and be good to go, which is what we did. We went, I don't know what you are, we decided we only had to go 10 feet according to Seabright's adoptions of the flood elevation, but we chose to go 14 feet above sea level because my theory is one and done. Like, if you're gonna do all this work, I mean, I would totally suggest you go 2 or 3 feet higher than what you think you should go, because why would you ever want, I mean, I have friends that raised after the 92 nor'easter and they got water in their house. You know what I mean? So like, why take the chance? So it's not that much money to put a couple extra
No.
courses of this. I also did 12-inch block like Carol. And we're pretty far along. We have the sheathing, just got the roofing done. We're both general contracting, which I suggest not, I didn't do it just to save the money, but this is my house and we've lost so much and I wanted to be involved in every single aspect of rebuilding it. I just recently had one of the general contractor's biggest nightmares because the gentleman that was to be roofing my house didn't water seal it and all the rain came on Monday and now my master bedroom is destroyed. And that was not harmed during Sandy. I might cry, but I'm not gonna, try not to. So the ceiling caved in, a whole wall has to be replaced. I lost 4 pieces of furniture. The gentleman tried to not take responsibility for it. He was since fired. It was a big fiasco, but I got on the phone with some really good people and the next day I had the roof put on. And it's beautiful and sealed and I was just at my house and there's no leaks, so.
She had good advice before she entered into these agreements to protect herself.
Contracts for every single person that is stepping foot on your property. I have a solid contract from this gentleman that did not finish his work and yeah, it's not gonna be pretty later. I just wanna get my house built now and then deal with all the rest. Yes, Carl?
So when you went up 14 feet, did you worry about bumping into that maximum height elevation?
I was not, she was allowed, because she raised, she was allowed to go up to the 40. I think we were only, because we renovated, we could only go 38 feet. because it was a new addition, but they don't take it from the peak anymore, they take it
From the mid-roof
From the
line.
mid-roof.
Yeah.
So you actually have like 2 extra
Yes.
feet.
What do you mean by mid-roof?
Like, you know how if the roof is
The
peaked, they're only like
A-frame.
taking it from here, the level.
Yes.
So you're actually getting like 2 extra feet. And even with me being 14 feet above sea level, I'm still only at, and that's 2 levels on top of the foundation. So I have a first floor and then an attic, because I'm storing everything in the attic. Which we also suggest, no utilities down low, ever.
Yes.
But the attic, I'm still only at like 36.5 feet, even going that high.
So the maximum, as of like today, if you wanted to go up is 38?
And 40 if you're lifting an existing structure.
See, no, I didn't know that. My house is at 38. My peak's at 38.
Yeah, but you're,
Height.
she wanted to go like 17 feet above sea level.
I-
But you know what? That she would have never been able to get up there. So, I mean, just as far as like the general contracting, even with what just happened to me, and I was so devastated, I was like literally in the corner of my bedroom, like pounding the wall. I'm still glad I'm doing it, because had I not been the general contractor and this had happened and I had to fire like the whole general contractor, then I would have been up shit's creek, because then I would have had to find every single thing. But I still have all my guys lined up, and I'm still, this only delayed me maybe like 4 days. So because I have all my other contractors lined up, that it really did, even though this part was a nightmare, it's just something you have to like trudge through. She had leaks in her house
Yes,
the
it
other
did.
day
My
too.
tie blew off with
Yeah.
that storm, and it leaked into my back room. We had to tear off our back room because the storm had damaged it, so we rebuilt it, but it got wrapped with the Tyvek, but it blew off, so and we had just insulated, and it all got wet, so we had to tear it out. I mean, there's a lot of bumps in the road. But-
So many.
I have a question. When you were acting as the general contractor, did you find...
Can't hear you.
Did you find it saved you a lot of money by doing that approach?
I think it saves you money, and I didn't necessarily even do it for that reason. I did it, like I said, because I just needed to be involved with every aspect. This was not a renovation by choice. It wasn't like, oh, let's redo the kitchen, just do it, we don't care, you know. This was, our house got destroyed, and I wanted to make sure my house was built. We have learned, I know you have too, I mean, I have learned so much about the rebuilding process and how things are done, and I just feel really confident going forward that my house is gonna be stronger than if I just was like, oh, here you go, here's the money, see you later, call me when it's done, you know?
How do you feel about the coordination with all the subcontractors that you hired?
Mine have been running smoothly so
Mine
far.
too.
Yeah, you just gotta keep on
Because you're
top.
in
Yes.
charge of it.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, and I call them all the time. They probably like are like, oh crap, it's Liz, because I literally am either texting them and like, this is where we're at. I just literally call them like every week. So now all my interior stuff is scheduled to start May 20th, because the windows will be in this week, and then I'm ready for the interior stuff to start.
Now, how about like with windows? I know there's rules, like if you change a window size, you have
They gotta be
fine.
storm watch windows. Yours did you have to do that?
What
Because I don't
happened
know.
was, because our houses are so close, they require fire windows. And those are, I found, I can't find them. I had quite a few people call, 15 vendors on top of their vendors, and it's impossible to find them. They're very expensive, they're fire rated, but they don't come with a certificate. So, you know, my windows had to be rearranged a little bit in the back.
And was there an issue, 'cause I know like rules, you have to have the same size window if you replace it. And was there issues of like it being the exact same size? Or-
None of that, because we winded up going smaller because of the fire rated windows.
But
Again,
that's
because
if
they
you're
were-
changing it. What if the windows are still
Then
existing?
that's fine,
That's
then
fine.
you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, see, that's the
because-
good thing, because that's
Yeah.
all like grandfathered in.
Yes,
So like if you're just like lifting your existing home, if I'm not mistaken, if you don't change anything and you just go up, you can
Yes.
just keep it that way.
Yes.
I had to go because mine was a renovation, which is kind of funny. Like I am so happy that I saved those 2 bedrooms, because if you fully demolish your
Right.
house, it is way more paperwork. But because I kept a part of it, even though they literally cut down an entire house, because it was my original house that I bought, so they cut down an entire house, I didn't have to deal with as much paperwork. And I had to do everything up to code. So I had to get like the Stormwatch windows. It's like Anderson 4000 series Stormwatch. They're phenomenal, hurricane impact resistant. And I have big 3 by 5 foot windows, because I'm banking on that view now. It's high. I can actually see the ocean.
How far from the water are you? How, when you
I'm right across the street from where the Driftwood Cabana Club is. I'm like the first house on the, so we're like 3 houses from the river, and then, you know, across from the ocean. So,
What about the insurance issue? Your homeowners covered you as a self-contractor?
oh yeah, I had no problems with that. My flood.
Did you require getting insurance put in your name from your subs? Did
They
provide-
all have their own insurance. Every subcontractor that I went through has
Do
all
they
their.
name you as an insured when you get the contract? So that's what I heard they're supposed to do.
But that I'm insured as a general
No, that
contractor?
they're insured.
Oh, everyone, I made sure that they had insurance, absolutely.
Right, but they hand you a certificate naming you as an insured under their policy.
No, that's not how it works, actually.
No, it
Not how it
isn't.
works?
Yeah, typically, when you contract with a contractor.
They name you as an additional
Another kind of
insured,
project,
and what it
You
does
would
is
say to the contractor.
you'll get
"You have
mailed
me
a
named
notification
as
if they
an
cancel their
additional
policy.
insured
That's what
your
that
policy."
is.
Oh, I didn't,
Typically.
We have
They don't
gotten
actually name you
paper
on their
and
insurance
we've gotten
policy.
paperwork in the mail stating where, like Wolf, for instance, raised our home. We got several letters from their insurance company naming us on their policy
Right.
for that time
Right.
that they
Right,
were on
right,
our
right,
property.
right.
Is this way
Yes.
still working in the house?
Yes,
In the
yes.
same time period?
So we didn't have to purchase
Right, you
anything,
didn't have to get
but
work-
they,
They
okay, I see what you, I
left it,
thought
yes.
you were asking if we, like, as GCs had to
they
get
put,
extra
like, they were
insurance.
working at our house for this time period, and then we would be on the policy for that time period.
Did you have to get some kind of license to be your own contractor?
No, you do not. The homeowner can be their own contractor.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that if you had a multiple dwelling.
Right.
And
Right.
another thing I'd like to add is that a lot of times the bank, when you get your money, if you have a mortgage, it's in the bank's name too. Well, they do have a policy where if you are doing the general contracting, they can release the money to you. It's called an exception. So if you call and you want to get your money to you directly because you're doing the general contracting, you ask for the exceptions department, and they do make an exception because they did for us. You have to be a little pushy, but they will allow it.
Very
You
pushy with
have to be
everything.
very pushy. I
With
call every
everything.
day.
Yeah, and you have to call every day and literally
Yes.
take every single person's name, number,
Yes.
extension, whatever they can give you.
Did you get all the money, or did they give it out
they-
to you dribs and drabs?
They give it out 2 1/3. We're almost done, so the bank now owes us just
Did
$6,000.
We're
they
exactly
inspect before they release the second, third? Or-
Not the second, but they do the third. It's different though, you know, so you have to ask. We have Wells Fargo, they've been wonderful to us. I know a lot of people had a hard time with Wells Fargo, but they're very good to us.
We have
And-
Bank of America, and we're at the same, they have only $5,000 left
Yeah,
of ours,
so-
which they'll give us as soon as we're sheetrocked.
Yes.
And if any of you are doing the ICC thing, this is,
What is that?
started, the increased cost of compliance. They pay for raising, demoing, or relocation.
Yes.
And it's through your flood insurance. It is not, I mean, everything's government.
Is there a limit on that?
30,000.
30,000.
So because I demoed, and my demo and foundation alone cost 34,000, so I immediately qualified because I'm going, you know, I'm going up to the elevation that's required. They release the first 15,000. You have to just send them receipts, and they give you a form to sign. And I just got my first 15,000. Unfortunately, they don't release the second 15,000 until you're pretty much like done. So you kind of have to have a buffer because you don't get that
Yes.
right away. They don't give it to you. She said pretty much when you're ready to move in, you'll get the
Yes,
second
and they
half.
come out and they take pictures and they submit them.
But you get it quick. I mean, it's not like a big hassle. Well, she
I
didn't.
had to wait, and this is where, because I started out so early, I hit a lot of roadblocks. The 15,000, the first release of it, they sat on that for months. I just got it because they didn't give me the paper to fill out. I sent in all my stuff. I kept calling, asking why I didn't get it yet, and finally I got a supervisor, and he said, because I never filled out this paper. Well, it was never given to me. No,
Yeah.
so what I did was I gave this to Trish, and she has copies of it. That way nobody else has this problem again, because, I mean, it literally.
Who's
they have-
Trish?
Oh,
Besides
Trish
me.
Spar.
Right,
Trish Spar, I'm
besides me.
sorry. It's-
Throw a hole here.
They held my 15,000 for 4 months. Didn't tell me, nobody knew why they were holding it. It was just being held, all because they didn't have this one single form saying that they could
It was
release the
ju-
money.
I actually
That was
took your
it.
form, and
Yes.
but my insurance company told me, they said, oh, we're gonna send you a release thing and then this form to fill out for your first half. But I had said I already have the form because my friend Carol went through this, so I had it all filled out and faxed it to them right away. And so I literally, my whole ICC process took about 6 weeks, from start to first check. But get on it now. I mean, if you have receipts of how much things are gonna cost, I mean, those things. And just, I don't know if you're all people that live in town or whatever town you live in, but just know that, like, I mean, they are doing the best they can in
They
there.
are,
It is like
they are.
overwhelmed. They have been amazing. I came in the other day with the whole roof situation in my bed. I just sat and cried and sat in front of them and cried and we hugged and, you know, but
They've been very helpful.
yeah,
very
they've been
helpful.
super helpful. I mean, we're all learning. Nobody has ever gone through this before. So when I sat down with our floodplain manager that we hired in Seabright, she literally said, "You're like the first one that's doing a renovation. So let's talk about what we're gonna do." Like, I was the guinea pig. So she sat down, we figured it out, she figured it out, I knew what I had to do, and we got it done.
Did you
Now-
also do block?
I did. I'm an A zone though.
Okay.
Thank God. You know, but I don't think they were, like I
They
said, it
didn't
wouldn't have mattered
have-
anyway. Yeah.
When I did this, because I did it so quick, because, and if we did it, we would have got water again. I just want to note that because of that flood we got.
The nor'easter?
Yes. I did it so quickly that nobody knew what to do.
Yeah.
I came here asking questions. They didn't have the floodplain management. They didn't have the help that you guys could get now. I did a lot of research online. I had help with my uncle because he raises houses in the Cape, and he was a big help to me to figure out what I needed to do to get out. So even like the zones didn't even come into play when I did mine because I started my paperwork in December. I mean, I started real quick.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to get up because I didn't want my family to flood again. We had already lost everything.
Yeah, she's in the
I just couldn't do
floodiest
it
street
again.
in the town too.
Yeah,
Like Center
Center
Street is the
Street.
worst hit.
Yeah.
Liz, you have an architect.
Wolf did.
I had an architect. He's here today. Tony Condoris. He's wonderful.
I love Wolf. They are great.
They've done
They're
like
such
everybody
good-
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They're very
Who's that?
professional.
Wolf.
Wolf, they're here
Wolf did a
today.
great job.
Wolf raised their home.
And our mason is Jay Kennedy, which he might be out there now. He's amazing.
He
I mean,
is
I wish
very
I could
amazing.
clone him and make every contractor like him. He is literally,
Yes.
he's like our new best friend.
What's his name
Seriously, we
again?
love him.
Jay Kennedy.
Jay Kennedy, we have his number. He's amazing. He's just the guy that comes in, does what he's supposed to do, asks for money when he's supposed to, cleans
Yes.
up, and he's just awesome.
He was done in 2 weeks. Less
Yeah.
than 2 weeks in my house.
Me too.
I found
He's like
him from a
15 guys on the
referral.
job.
Yeah.
Putting it
What
down.
would you say, like, for doing the block, was like an average cost per course or foot, like, what did it go about?
Well, I know that underneath our house, the platform in the garage was 4,000.
Okay.
But my
When you
my
say
18
platform,
courses.
what do you mean?
Well,
The
you know,
footing?
the
Slab on grade.
Slab.
Yeah, the
Was it
slab.
And it was
The
right
slab
on,
for a
right on
garage,
sea
like if
level,
you
huh?
go in,
Or-
and yeah. And
So that's
then-
always gonna get flooded in there probably.
Yeah, well,
right?
that's why you have the flood
Right.
gates.
Yes.
And you don't put anything
Yes.
down there.
Yeah, one thing though, like in the back, he winded up putting like a little step so that won't get as much water, so I can put my kids' bikes up there.
Okay.
And like, because our back, for whatever reason, I don't know if anybody else in Seabright, the back of the houses don't flood as much. I'm not sure why, but they don't.
Is that the back facing the river or the?
No, well, the houses, I'm on the river, but the houses face like this. So my back facing the other house behind me doesn't get as much water. I'm not sure why, and it seems to happen a lot.
Was your house a total footing foundation removal replacement, or did you add to the existing?
No, it was totally removed. We were maybe like 2 feet off, and we had all old brick that, quite frankly, when they lifted my house, if you touched it, it fell over. So I don't even know how my house is still standing.
We had like a cesspool under our kitchen when they demoed it. Literally, no, the water was stagnant. He goes, "This is not from Sandy." I mean, I just had a stagnant cesspool of water under my kitchen.
Yes,
It was
Emery.
disgusting.
Yeah, thank you,
This is
Carol.
my lovely neighbor's father.
Thanks. You brought in the ICC, increased cost of construction under insurance. Now, that means in order to get anything under that, you have to have 50% loss,
Yes.
51% of your assessed value.
Yes.